Hello, my dragonflies. Welcome back to another video. I hope everything's amazing today. We are back with the WANSEE Entertainment True Boyfriend Horror Story animated. If you're not, welcome to my channel. My name is Jai. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share all that great stuff. Get your snacks, relax. Let's watch. Hope
I've
not
never
too
had the
scary.
best of luck with guys. I appear to have poor taste when it comes to dating. After separating for good from my kid's father after 5 years, I was ready to just be myself. About 3 months of being a single mother, my neighbor approached me stating that a friend of his, Steve, would like to meet me. It didn't take
Okay.
long before he charmed his way into my life. The first 6 months were amazing, but he began to drink more and more, and each time he would get extremely agitated.
Alcoholic.
He would start fights with random people, and even some of our friends. Slowly, our
You gotta
friends
go.
would stop coming around, knowing how Steve got when he drank. This, however, did not stop him from drinking.
Oh,
But now all the anger
he
was
turned up on
aimed
you.
at me. It took roughly 6 to 8 months of buildup, from name-calling and shoving to punching and choking. Suddenly, this became a very abusive relationship. One time, I escaped out of the bathroom window. He later found me by beating up a friend of mine until he told me
Huh?
where I was. Steve began stripping all of my clothes off in a drunken rage while laughing at me
Did the
and challenging me to go ahead and try to escape while I was naked. The last night of abuse was by far the
did the friend call the police? Cause it doesn't make no sense right now. And for all this to build up, you should have been left.
worst. Before Steve started drinking that night, I told him that my son, 3 years old, was not feeling very well, and I was going to stay with him as he fell asleep. My plan was to spend the night with my son. At around 2:30 in the morning, I heard the bedroom door open.
I would not
I'm
want
lying there
my
pretending to be asleep.
child.
Several seconds went by. I held my breath as tears began to form in my eyes. When I suddenly felt his hand on top of my head, he grabbed my hair and yanked me out of bed, whispering in my ear, "I know you're avoiding me."
No.
Once in the living room, he threw me
Call
on
the
the floor
police.
and accused me of trying to leave him and demanded to know why. Before I
Please
could
call the
answer, he
police.
angrily came to the conclusion that it was another man. "I swear to God, if I catch you with another man, I'll kill you and him." He was obviously more drunk than normal. He punched and kicked me a couple of times, and I fell to the floor. I started to crawl to my son's room, and he slowly came from behind me, asking, "Where do you think you're going?" He then walked in front of me, kneeled down, and said, "You stay right there,
You better
or
grab
I'm
one of
gonna
those
hurt
bottles.
you real bad." He then sat on the couch and watched me as I sobbed on the floor. After about 30 minutes, it appeared that he passed out on the couch. I decided that this was my chance to escape. I put on an oversized
Call the
shirt,
police.
picked up my son, and slowly crept by him. He suddenly woke up and grabbed my leg and said, "Where are you going?" I stammered out that I was going into the kitchen with my son to get him a drink. He then angrily replied, "Hurry up." As soon as I entered the kitchen, I ran out of the front door with no pants on, no shoes, and no purse. I carried my son all the way to the police station, which was thankfully only a few blocks away.
I'm about to say, what?
After hours, the way the police station is set up is that you go into a room and press a button and talk to someone on the intercom. I ran in and put my back to the wall and pushed the button behind me as I slowly slid down into a sitting position while holding on to my son, waiting for Steve to burst through the door at any second. I remembered thinking if I was going to be beaten, at least it would be on camera. On the speaker, I
He
heard,
real bold.
"How can I help you?" All I could do was
The
cry.
fight.
I couldn't even get a word
The
out of my
police station.
mouth. I didn't know how to explain. 2 officers came out to assist me. A female officer took my son and got him some food, and I went with the male officer to make a report, and he gave me a blanket. After 15 minutes, I heard Steve screaming my name as they brought him down the hallway. I held my breath as if he knew I was behind the
He's
door.
psycho.
30 minutes later, an officer came back with his sergeant. At first, I thought they were going to tell me to go back home and gather my belongings while Steve was being held in custody. Instead, they asked me more questions about his anger issues and if there had been any previous fights. I explained to them Steve's alcohol problem and how he had become increasingly more abusive. They then showed me a list in Steve's handwriting detailing how he would dismember my body in a good spot where I would be buried without being found. He also had possible dates written down, with past dates crossed out. I couldn't breathe when I read this, and by this point tears were streaming down my face. I looked at the cop and asked, "What does this mean?" He looked back at me and said, "It means you're lucky." Steve was charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, and assault. I left back home to Arizona before the trial started, but gave a detailed statement before I left. Steve, of course, pled not guilty, but in the end, he received 2 years in prison. Just before I left for Arizona, I received a letter from Steve. It simply read, "It's not over. You'll always be mine."
Oh, call the cops. Call the cops. That's not right. We gotta know our worth when it comes to this situation. When you see the red flags and friends not coming over because he's so abusive and all that, leave, or do something about it because it's getting worse and worse. You said 6 and 8 months went by. You want to do what's best for your child. If this person not right in the situation, you got your child at that, leave. Yeah, know our worth and we could do so much better at all. And see, we're crazy, psychotic, and all that. So tell me guys what you think about this video. Thanks again for tuning in and have a most awesome day. And until next time, you guys, stay blessed, stay grateful. Sure life, do what you want to do bodily. Peace.